Unfortunately, it's one of the toughest places to play in all of college football. For opponents, it has been a virtual den of destruction, a valley from which few emerge with victory. For Clemson, there is no letting up, and today they're out to continue their ACC dominance of the decade and slam dance yet another opponent. 15 times Virginia has ventured into this valley, and 15 times they've been defeated. However, lately, under George Welsh, the Cavs have become a legitimate conference contender. They're now 4-1, and their dream is to slay the Tiger in his own backyard and move in on a possible first ACC title. Today, it's an ACC showdown. Virginia visits Clemson coming up next. CFA Saturday, come on down to South Carolina and exit off Interstate 85. Then just follow the country roads and the Tiger Paws to Death Valley. On game day in Clemson, this consummate college town sees its population quadrupled. They'll all walk down this hill on Spirit Weekend to get set for this ACC battle between Virginia and 15th ranked Clemson. CBS Sports welcomes you to Clemson's Memorial Stadium, where today over 80,000 orange-clad fans have come out for this game between Virginia and Clemson. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jim Nance. Welcome to Death Valley. We're just a couple of minutes away from seeing the most spirited entrance in all of college football. The Clemson Tigers are going to go running down this hill, but on the way, the players will stop and touch the rock for mystical and magical power they believe it gives them. It's a tradition here at Clemson. Another tradition is beating up on today's opponent, the Virginia Cavaliers. This is the most lopsided rivalry in all of college football. 28 times these two teams have met. Clemson has won all 28 ball games. In fact, it may take something mystical or magical for Virginia to win today, because they are exceedingly banged up. And for more on that, I'm going to take you across the field to my partner in the booth, Pat Hayden. Pat?
All right, Jimmy, thank you very much. And you were right. It's going to take some magic on behalf of the Cavaliers, because George Welsh, their head coach, just told me that his starting quarterback, Sean Moore, will not play at all today. He's the guy who's led them to 4 straight wins. In his place will be sophomore quarterback Matt Blunden. He is 6'7" tall. Now, he came to Virginia as a basketball player. And he started as a junior on the team that got to the NCAA Final 8 a year ago. Now, while he's not an inexperienced athlete, played many big basketball games, he is an inexperienced quarterback. This is his first start. He's only thrown 2 passes all year, but I spoke to him just a couple of moments ago, and he is remarkably composed and very excited about this game. Now, John Dockery, that is the story with the Virginia quarterbacks, but you're with the Clemson Tigers, who have a rather unusual way of getting to the stadium floor.
You know, Pat, a very unusual way. You see Clemson coming out of the locker room. Now, they could have walked directly to the field, but instead they walk about 50 yards up this path. They go out these gates into 2 awaiting buses, which you see behind. Now, the buses will take them around the outside of the stadium, a very tense 2.5 minutes where the Magic Rock and 80,000 fans awake. And Greg Gumbel, when we come back from New York, the Cavaliers and the Tigers should be ready for their rush into Death Valley.
We're back in Clemson for this game today between the Tigers and Cavaliers. Each team coming in with a 4-1 record on the year. Virginia has won its last 4 games, 9 of its last 10. And here come the Cavaliers. Coach George Welsh, in his 8th year, going for his career 100th victory today. Now the Clemson Tigers are about to emerge from the top of the hill. Let's take you there again with John Dockery. John?
Jim, you said it before, probably the most dramatic entrance in college football, maybe in all of sports. The players are nervously poised. They will touch the rocket. One player told me, if you're not ready at the top of the hill, you're certainly ready when you hit the bottom. Here are the Clemson Tigers!
his Clemson Tigers to the field. They've won the ACC the last 3 years. Today they'll be challenged by up-and-coming Virginia. Virginia and Clemson coming up next.
CBS Sports presents college football. Live from Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina. It's the Virginia Cavaliers versus the Clemson Tigers. Today's CFA game is sponsored by Michelob Dry. Bold taste with no aftertaste. Mick Dry refreshes completely. AC Delco automotive parts that don't just fit, they match. And by Geo. Get to know Geo. Sold and serviced by Chevrolet Geo dealers.
Just the kind of weather you might expect in Clemson, South Carolina. 80 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Very little wind. This, as we have mentioned, is Spirit Weekend. And John Dockery, you were not trampled as the players came out of the field. So, hey, tell us, what is this weekend all about here?
You mentioned it was Spirit Weekend. It was close not getting trampled. They come flying down that hill. Interesting what Danny Ford did this week. He actually sent a letter to every member of the student body asking him Clemson help regain the momentum that is needed to guide the Tigers to a 4th consecutive Atlantic Coast Conference championship. Danny Ford has never done anything like this before, and he couldn't have done it on a better weekend because, as you mentioned, this is Spirit Weekend, and they've given out 82,000 kazoos to the fans here today. So if you hear strange noises, it's not you and Patcham.
All right, we're underway. Kubu's kick for Clemson. And Finkelstein for Virginia will down it in the end zone. Bringing it out to the 20. Clemson had won the toss and deferred. Kicking to Virginia. Quarterback by Matt Blunden. He's a sophomore in football, a junior in basketball, a starter in basketball. In the backfield, Greggs and Nicky Fisher. The wide receivers, Herman Moore and Tim Finkelstein. Herman Moore is the big play man. He has 4 touchdowns already this year. 1st and 10, Virginia from its own 20. Fisher on 1st down. Only 2 yards. Levon Kirkland and Rob Bodine on the tackle for the Tigers. Rob Bodine, a former walk-on, is the nose guard. Flanked by Otis Moore and 6'7" Vance Hammond. The linebackers, Brewster and Taylor. And Kirkland along with Johnson. John Johnson, fastest outside linebacker in Clemson history. 2nd down and 8 for the Cavaliers. The pitch to Fisher. Hit initially by Arlington Nunn, and then James Lott makes the tackle. The Virginia offensive line sets up like this. Rip Leonard, a junior from Tampa, is the center. Roy Brown, all ACC guard, and Trevor Riles. And the tackles, Ray Roberts, only a sophomore from Asheville, North Carolina, and Paul Collins from Richmond, Virginia, a junior. Maybe the best tight end in the ACC, Bruce McGonigal. 3rd down and 6. Blunden most likely will attempt his first pass. Ball is tipped, intercepted by Henderson. Jerome Henderson out of bounds at the 25.
Well, I tell you, ordinarily a quarterback who is 6'7" is not going to get too many balls tipped. But it just goes to show you when you have some real tall defensive linemen and Moore and Hammond go 6'7" and 6'4", that's going to happen. Good pass protection, a short drop, so this really shouldn't happen. It was 81 Otis Moore who got the hand there, and then Jerome Henderson, who had the receiver very well covered, even if the ball had not been tipped. But there's great speed on this Clemson defense, believe me.
Jerome Henderson with the interception, a junior from Statesville, North Carolina, and the Tigers have the football at the 25 of the Cavaliers. Terry Allen on 1st down, picks up 7. Let's introduce you to some of the Clemson Tigers on offense. The quarterback is Chris Morocco, a senior from Athens, Georgia. In the backfield, a couple of great backs, Wesley McFadden and Terry Allen. Wide receivers, Rodney Fletcher, former junior college quarterback, and their big play man for Clemson is Gary Cooper. A gain of 7 on first down for Terry Allen. 2nd and 3. Allen again. Allen has the first down, and he's out of bounds at the 10. He got a block by Stacy Fields, the tight end. For Virginia, Ron Carey is the nose tackle. Chris Stearns, Joe Hall line up on that defensive line, along with a freshman, Chris Slade, who comes in today for the injured Donald Reynolds, and Ray Savage. Linebackers Bill Thomas out of Houston, Mike Williams. 1st and 10 for Clemson from the 11. Morocco, the pitch, hit immediately. Allen is hit immediately by Tyrone Lewis. He read that all the way, the sophomore from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
And Jim, George Welsh told us that this defense and Tyrone Lewis are going to have to keep their team in the ball game early in the game. He said we cannot let Clemson get up by 14 points in the first quarter, and to do that, the defense has to play well right here.
But Clemson faces a 2nd down and 13. Staying with Terry Allen. Allen, very little on the play. No gain. Mike Williams on the tackle for Virginia, and Ron Carey.
There's some good defense inside by Mike Williams, who you just mentioned, Jim. Inside linebacker, and Carey the nose tackle. The number 45 and number 56 inside do a great job of just stepping into the hole. That's Savage, number 56. 3 or 4 white jerseys around the ball, and that's what it's going to take. Because you can't bring down Terry Allen with just one defensive player. You need 2 or 3 white jerseys around Allen all afternoon.
3rd and 13. Chip Davis comes in as a receiver, joining Gary Cooper. Allen out of the backfield in motion. Morocco's first pass complete at the 5. That's Chip Davis, his first reception of the season.
Really kind of a funny call and a funny throw on 3rd and 13. They had no chance whatsoever, really, of that ball getting the first down. And it was actually kind of a dangerous pass, as you see Jason Wallace, I believe that is, who is injured.
Wallace, one of many Virginia players injured last week in a win against William and Mary.
Yeah, we talked earlier in the show about Sean Moore, the quarterback, who definitely will not play. Jason Wallace has been had a shoulder injury all season long, which has bothered him. And really, we talked about so many guys getting around the ball, but that time he took a hit from his own man. Inside number 92, Chris Stearns. And that's going to happen sometimes when you have a lot of team defense. Sometimes your own player is going to knock you off the player and sometimes hurt you. We talked about the Virginia injury situation. Moore, the quarterback, the guy who has led them to the 4 straight wins. Wilson will play. Terry Kirby, the most highly recruited back in all of America, did not even make the trip. And I think Donald Reynolds, the outside linebacker, is a real loss because Clemson likes to run the pitch to the outside. Joseph Jackson's out, and Jason Wallace, the man we just saw now, is trotting off the field.
All of those players injured against William and Mary. You saw Yusef Jackson. He's one of the top tacklers. He's a linebacker for Virginia, the son of Jesse Jackson. But not dressed today because of an injury, knee injury. Gardocki will attempt a field goal on 4th and 4, and he nails it from 21 yards. Chris Gardocki, one of the best in the nation. He's 10 for 11 this year.
80,000 fans here at Clemson Stadium. I just spoke to the Virginia folks about Matt Blunden, and they told me they felt they could win behind him. They also told me that they thought they had to throw the ball to beat Clemson today. Now back to Pat and Jim.
You know, John, just to follow up on that, I was talking with Paul Collins, the starting right tackle for the Virginia Cavaliers, and he told me before the game that we can win with Matt Blunden. We have all of our offensive linemen had a lot of confidence in him, and he was remarkably composed before the game, Jim.
Well, he, again, is a starter on the basketball team. He says, I'm accustomed to playing in the big game. And he was a very highly touted high school quarterback. In fact, Joe Paterno told Blunden when he was recruiting him at Penn State, you could be a starter here conceivably for the Nittany Lions for 3 years. Notre Dame wanted Blunden. So did Stanford. Now now the 6'7" quarterback is the man on the spot today for the Cavaliers. Intercepted on his first attempt. Kick, deep one. Finkelstein will not run it out. We have an update, so let's send you back to our studios in New York with Greg Gumbel. Greg?
At Morgantown, Jim, can the Major scramble? West Virginia down 9-0 at one point to Virginia Tech has scored on its first 2 possessions in the second half. Major Harris, 14 yards to Charlie Fedorko. The Mountaineers now lead it 10-9 in the third. Jim and Pat?
All right, thank you, Greg. Major Harris right now, the best player in college football through the first half of the season. 1st and 10 from the 20 for Virginia. London, the give to Fisher. He'll lose a yard. Bodine, Rob Bodine, sophomore, played his high school football in Velva, North Dakota, about 80 miles from the Canadian border.
Bodine, a walk-on, but you win with guys like Rob Bodine. Clearly not the most talented guy on this defense, but he's a guy that gives you everything he has every single play. And I think if you have a guy like that in the middle of your defense, even the talented people around him raise their level of play because they see how hard he is playing.
2nd down and 11 after Bodine dropped him for a yard loss. Johnny Wilson's in as a receiver. London going long. Wilson's in that area. Incomplete. Double coverage by the Tigers. Arlington Nunn and Jerome Henderson.
And Jim, this is something that George Wells said he wanted to do. Throw the ball deep. He said he's going to throw the ball deep at least 2 times a quarter, trying to get either the pass interference penalty or let Herman Moore, the tall wide receiver, go up and get it in the crowd.
George Welsh has done remarkable things for Virginia. Before he came to the Cavaliers, this school had only 2 winning seasons in 29 years and no bowl appearances. Had winning years 5 of the last 6, including 2 bowls. Here's the give to Derwin Greggs. And on 3rd down, he comes up well short of the first. Robert O'Neill on the tackle, along with Dexter Davis.
Defensive backs from Clemson, including O'Neill, number 15, are great tacklers. They got great foot speed, but they can really tackle you as well in the open field.
Myron Martin is the punter. They use 2 punters for Virginia.
Martin's the 2-step punter. George Welsh is concerned about getting the punt block, so he has his 2-step punter in now.
Clemson's blocked 3 on the year. Came charging on that one. James Lott will let it bounce around for the Tigers. And the ball is down at the Clemson 29-yard line. Tigers were in there with pressure on Martin, but he got away a 46-yard punt. Now Clemson up front. Hank Phillips is the center. His brother was an All-American here. The guards, Jeb Flesh. Boy, what a great name for an offensive lineman. And Eric Harmon. Bruce Bratton and Stacy Long, the tackles, and the tight end is Stacy Fields.
Bruce Bratton's not a good name for an offensive lineman?
I like Flesh. 1st and 10. Morocco will keep it on the option, pick up 3.
What you see with this Clemson offense is a team that does not make a lot of mistakes. They force you to beat them. They don't turn the ball over. Their backs do not fumble the ball. They can give you some power football. And then Morocco, the quarterback, can run the option in short yardage. And then they'll fool you, too. They'll run reverses. They'll run reverse passes. And I'm sure we'll see something like that today.
Chris Morocco is in his 5th year, Pat. He waited because Rodney Williams was the man here for 3 years, the winningest quarterback in Clemson history. Rodney Williams graduated last year. Morocco steps in. This is his year, his senior season. 2nd down, Morocco throwing for Cooper, incomplete. A little bit behind Cooper at the 47-yard line. Coverage on the play by Keith McMeans.
Danny Ford said coming into today's game they have to throw the ball more, and Chris Morocco is a guy, as you said, patiently waited his turn. Could have, quit, actually came back and went left to play baseball, but a guy who's hung in there, waited for his chance, and now he is making the most of it. I think you have to admire guys who, like Chris, who've waited around a long time for that chance. Never got discouraged.
Chris actually graduated in August. He's taking graduate courses now. On 3rd down, the pass is caught by Rodney Fletcher, and that's a 1st down for Clemson. 10-yard gain to the 44-yard line. Morocco completing that pass. Here's the secondary trying to challenge Jason Wallace, Tony Covington, and the safeties Lewis and McMeans. We saw Wallace shaken up earlier. He is back in the lineup for Virginia. 1st and 10, Clemson from its 44. Chip Davis in as a receiver. Pitch, Terry Allen, running room. Tackle finally by Ray Savage, but he moves into Virginia territory thanks to a block by Wesley McFadden.
You are going to see a lot of this pitch play that Clemson runs so well. The key blocks are by the fullback, McFadden, who makes a great block, number 22, and the tight end. 2 years ago, they ran this play 20 times against the Cavaliers. And the key block is the kick-out block by the fullback, McFadden, there, who did a sensational job. Former tailback, who's made the adjustment to fullback very well.
2nd down and 1. Give to McFadden. His first carry picks up the 1st down to the 42-yard line. 5-yard rush for McFadden. Cut under by Mike Williams.
Boy, that is an upset in the making. Wow.
Mississippi knocked off Alabama last year at the Tide's place. In-state knows about Rutgers, too. Rutgers fooled them. 88. 1st and 10, Clemson from the 41. Morocco throwing, running down the line and completing to Fletcher near a 1st down, maybe a yard short at the 32. Tony Covington on the coverage.
You know, Clemson sets up that little play as well as anybody. What they will do is they'll fool you. We talked about them fooling you. They'll run the option play into the boundary a couple of times, and then they come down the line of scrimmage, fakes the option, and dump the ball to Rodney Fletcher. And that's when the defensive back, as soon as he comes up, they dump the ball right behind him. That's a nice little play that Clemson has run for years under Danny Ford.
We saw that baseball score. Ricky Henderson, what a series he's having. 2 two-run homers today against the Blue Jays in that game. Gary Cooper in on 2nd and 1. Morocco throwing for it and getting the 1st down to the tight end, Stacy Fields. Stacy Fields, a converted linebacker a year ago, the tight end for Clemson.
Well, you have to be happy for Stacy Fields. He is a guy who was so concerned about catching the ball coming into the first game against Furman, and then the first 2 balls that were thrown to him, he dropped. Ray locked himself into a room after the game, didn't want to come out, but then went on to catch 4 balls actually in that game. But a converted linebacker who was primarily a blocker.
Made a nice catch in traffic for the 1st down there. 25-yard line of Virginia. Running it down the right line. The pitch to Allen for only a yard. Tyrone Lewis coming up from strong safety makes the tackle.
Tyrone Lewis is going to have to continue to have a big day for this Cavalier defense. He is the strong safety. And when you play an option team, he has a lot of responsibility. He comes up, he can take the quarterback and sometimes he takes the pitchman. And he's got a force on the sweep. Only 190 pounds, but he's going to be taking on big old offensive guards and tackles all afternoon.
Jerome Williams in as a tight end for the Tigers. Their alternating receivers. Chip Davis comes in for Cooper. Morocco on the keep. Inside of the 20, short of a 1st down at the 18-yard line.
Now, we talked earlier about Clemson fooling you. From time to time, they like to run reverses as well in 3rd and short situations, or the option. And they'll run the reverse off the option play.
Clemson, again, if you just joined us, was in this territory early after an interception, but managed just a field goal. Now 3rd and 3 from the 17-yard line. And the give is to Joe Henderson, and he is tackled for a loss by Phil Thomas.
Phil Thomas has had a very productive year for the Cavaliers. A walk-on from Houston. When he came to the Cavaliers, drove 26 hours in an old car from Houston, got here, walked on, has made a major contribution to this Cavalier team.
They call him Tex. He's a senior, Phil Thomas. Now we're looking at Gardocki. He already hit the 21-yarder here in this quarter. This will be from 35 yards. Morocco on the hold. And Gardocki hits the upright. It's not good. It is not good. No good.
Looked like it was a high snap that got it started. Really a high snap and then a tough hold there.
Scott Bevel on the snap, Morocco on the hold, and Gardaki rarely misses. Only his second in 12 tries this year that missed. Nailing the left upright is still 3-0 Clemson.
Being a holder for extra points and field goals, I think, is the most thankless job in all of football. Chris Morocco does a great job of getting the high snap, putting it down, getting the laces turned away from the kicker. But the timing was disrupted there. And again, I think it's difficult to holding for a left-footed kicker, Jim, because you actually have to hold the ball with your left hand, and ordinarily you do it with your right hand. So that's a nice hold there by Morocco.
Virginia must feel fortunate, trailing only 3-0 here with 4:58 left in the first quarter. Clemson has been inside of the 20 twice and managed only a field goal. 1st and 10. Here's the carry by the fullback, Derwin Greggs, and he picks up 10 yards. Tackled by Robert O'Neill in the Clemson secondary.
Now, this Virginia offense believes they have to run right at the Clemson defense. They have so much speed, you can't run from sideline to sideline. If you're going to have any success, it's got to be right at them. And so you're going to see the fullback for Virginia carry the ball more than he ordinarily does.
Just inches short of a first down on 2nd and 1 for Virginia. Inside, first down. Greggs again on the rush. Tyrone Simpson, a freshman for Clemson on that defensive line, made the tackle, but it's first down Cavaliers.
Well, ordinarily, the fullback only carries the ball about as often as you pick up a check, Jim, which is not too often.
Thanks a lot.
But thus far, Greggs has been a factor. He's a big guy, 230 pounds, and can really move inside. Has a little shake in him, even though he's a big fullback, primarily a blocker.
1st and 10. Play action fake to Fisher. London dumps it off. Greggs can't hold on to it. Should have had it right in his hands.
I'll tell you, Matt Blunden did a nice job there, Jimmy, of moving around in the pocket for a big guy, 6'7". That's a little foot movement inside there to get the ball off to Greggs.
Still looking for his first completion. Blunden 0 for 3 with the INT that was tipped at the line, picked off by Jerome Henderson.
They're going to have success throwing the ball on first down. If they come up in 2nd and long and 3rd and long, Virginia's not going to win this football game.
Finkelstein in motion on 2nd and 10. Fisher. Only a gain of 3. Tigers were there, including Eric Jeter and Dexter Davis. You know, the last time a lot of people saw this Virginia team was back in the end of August. Kickoff Classic. Notre Dame stomped on them. It's 33-0 at halftime before a respectable score of 36-13 final. Since that time, upsetting 12th ranked Penn State, and all wins, 4 victories. Johnny Wilson comes in for the Cavaliers as a receiver on 3rd and 8. London has his first completion. It's Bruce McGonigal. Bruce McGonigal, the tight end. Gain of 18.
Well, that is a nice catch by McGonigal and a nice read by Blunden, who split out his tight end in the short side of the field. And he uses, or Virginia uses, a tight end as well as just about anybody. This is his 19th catch on the year. And he's not an ordinary tight end. He's not one of those guys who just catches those 6-yard hook routes. McGonigal can get upfield.
McGonigal's last 16 catches have been for a first down or a touchdown. Inside of Clemson territory, and London's going to throw again. Complete at the 35-yard line, and a flag down. Finkelstein on the catch. Dexter Davis was riding his back.
Finkelstein, another walk-on that we've talked about a little bit today. I mean, and George Welsh has said about Finkelstein, I can't ask any more for a guy. He holds, he'll block, he holds for kicks and extra points. He'll block, he'll go down and catch the ball in a crowd, returns kickoffs and punts. And so we gave him a scholarship. One of those guys who, again, not the most talented guy in the team, but whatever he has, he's going to give you every Saturday.
Interference against Clemson. No question about this. Finkelstein still made the catch.
Defense. First down.
And he made the catch because the ball is well thrown by Blunden. Now, this ball cannot help it being caught because he throws it right at the numbers away from the defensive back. You see that defensive back's coming over the right right side, so he throws it to the left side of Finkelstein. It's a clever throw by Blunden.
2.5 minutes left in the opening quarter. Virginia's first drive, first big drive of the day. From the Clemson 34, Fisher again stymied, hitting that wall, including Bodine and Otis Moore.
Rob Bodine is kind of an unusual guy at nose tackle. Now, he's only 235 pounds, which is a little bit undersized for a nose tackle, and he's unconventional in that he'll jump around guys and take a side. That time, he just threw the center, Leonard, off and made the stop. That's a nice play by Bodine.
He's made several here in the opening quarter. 2nd and 11. 2 tackles for losses by Bodine. Clemson blitzing across the middle. McGonigal with the reception near the first down at the 26-yard line of Clemson.
Well, I love to see a team that uses the tight end, because for a quarterback, it's the easiest throw. You have a guy who is 6'5" in McGonigal, and he can kind of control that middle. He's right in front of the quarterback. You have one guy who's 6'7" throwing to a 6'5" receiver, and he's got that whole middle of the defense to work. And besides that, he can run the deep routes as well as the short.
McGonigal has caught at least 1 pass in 12 consecutive games. Clemson last year, the last team to stop him. There's a timeout on the field called by Virginia. Called by Virginia with 1 minute and 9 seconds left in the first quarter. Virginia driving, trailing by a field goal. Again, Clemson has never lost to Virginia. 28-0. Here's what Virginia's Roy Brown said about that.
Well, I think anytime we play Clemson, you know, we want to be the first team to beat them, but honestly, I think, you know, we can't play as if thinking we've lost 28 times. I mean, I've only lost 3 times. True, my winning percentage is just as good as anybody else's, but I think, you know, it's just you go out there and you don't play against a streak. You play against the players that are on the field.
Well, it is on everyone's mind. There's Roy Brown. James Lott in the secondary for Clemson said people have been coming up to him on campus all week saying, hey, you're a senior. We've never lost to Virginia here. You don't want to go out that way. So constant reminders all week for both squads. 3rd and 3 for the Cavaliers from the Clemson 27. Clemson may have jumped. Flag is down. Marcus Wilson is stopped in the backfield.
It looked like it was offside on Clemson, but clearly what we were seeing thus far in the game, that if Virginia is going to win, there's the call against Clemson, it's going to be because of the passing. They have not been able to run for an inch, really, against this Clemson defensive front. A tremendous speed. They thought they could run at them up the middle with quick hitters, but even that is not working. So it's going to be on Matt Blunden.
Offside defense. First down.
So the drive continues after the 5-yard step off. Again, if you're just joining us, starting quarterback Sean Moore with a bruised shoulder from a week ago is not playing. Matt Blunden is the quarterback, and Marcus Wilson, the leading rusher, is in there now. He did not start the game. He banged up. He was also banged up last week. Good fake by Blunden, looking for more in the end zone, and it's caught. It's caught after it's batted around. McGonigal has the touchdown for Virginia. Wow.
What a play. That is incredible. The alley-oop pass to Herman Moore, who just tips it, and McGonigal hustling makes the play.
.4, Herman Moore is known for that alley-oop play, can outleap anyone. ACC high jump champ. But this time Clemson players batting it down right into the hands of a very alert McGonigal. McInerney in for the extra point, and it's good.
And here's the play. You know, Bill Oliver, the defensive backfield coach from Clemson, said when they throw the alley-oop to Moore, you got to tip the ball away. Don't go for the interception. But he didn't plan on this because this guy's a great leaper. 7'2" he went in the ACC. Now, there's 2 defensive backs do a great job of doing just that, tipping the ball away. But it's the hustling play of McGonigal. But when you have a tight end like McGonigal who's been getting open all day, you got to stop him on the line of scrimmage. He's coming off much too cleanly. Put a nice nice little move there on the outside linebacker, but if you stop him at the line of scrimmage and hold him up, he can't make plays like that. So that's a heads-up play by McGonigal. Wow.
Dexter Davis and Robert O'Neill tried to just bat it down. It's what they had been told to do all week, Pat. Just bat it down when they try that high alley-oop pass to Herman Moore.
They did just what they were coached to do, but it turned into the touchdown to McGonigal.
Herman Moore, as we look now at Danny Ford's reaction. Herman Moore scored Virginia's only touchdown last year against Clemson, and it came on an alley-oop pass play. Last minute of the first quarter, Virginia now leading. McInerney, squib kick, comes to Davis at the 33. He's hit from behind by one of his teammates and down at the 39-yard line.
Yep.
Tomorrow, CBS Sports brings you a doubleheader. NFL doubleheader getting started at 12:30 Eastern Time with the NFL Today. Early, most of you will see Giants in Philadelphia. Giants unbeaten on the year. Big game for the Eagles, who have dropped 2 in a row. There's the other regional action. Check your local listings. Late, most will see the Niners and the Saints, who desperately need a win. Or Phoenix, Washington, Atlanta Rams. 12:30, it all gets started Eastern Time, NFL Today. First and 10, Morocco comes back firing. Gary Cooper, first down Clemson, Virginia 46-yard line.
Every team has a big play receiver, and for Clemson, it's been Gary Cooper. 57 catches in his career. He's been averaging nearly 22 yards a reception. Didn't catch a lot of balls, but when he does, he makes the most of them. And he runs reverses, he'll run reverse passes as well. Gary Cooper can play.
Pride of the Tigers, Gary Cooper. Picked up 16 on that reception. Morocco, good fake on the option. Gives to Henderson. Henderson cutting back. Henderson may go. He will. Touchdown, Clemson. 45 yards. The first quarter, Joe Henderson. What a job of cutting back. 45-yard touchdown run. Gardocki on the extra point. And it's 10-7 Clemson after one.
But Clemson can come after you with different types of runners. Terry Allen is a north-south runner. Joe Henderson, number 33 right here, has a little bit more move in him. It is a cutback runner. Again, he sees and feels bodies coming against the green, cuts back against them, and picks up a nice block for the score.
So that's the end of the first quarter. Clemson 10, Virginia 7. College football on CBS Sports will return after this message and a word from your local station. More than 40 years ago, an old coach from South Carolina College by the name of Presbyterian College, the late Lonnie McMillan, who rarely saw his team even score points when they played at Clemson. He told someone, I'm going over to Death Valley to take on the Tigers. That word got back to Coach Frank Howard. And starting in the 50s, he dubbed this place Death Valley. Home of the Clemson Tigers, who lead at 10-7 after one. Scoring the touchdown on the last play of the first quarter. Gardocki will handle the kickoff chores. John Kubu had kicked the first 2 for Clemson. Back deep, Finkelstein, David Brown, Tyrone Lewis for Virginia. Clemson going for an unprecedented 4 consecutive ACC titles. So we'll see if Gardocki can kick it away by Kubu. He does. Good boot. Lewis, a yard deep, will run it out. Good run to the 26-yard line.
Jim, you think the option play doesn't put a linebacker in a dilemma? Watch right here as Ray Savage has the decision to make. Do I take the quarterback, Morocco, or the running back, Joe Henderson? And this is what Clemson likes to do, and what the option does is put your defensive players in a bind. And you don't even have to block the man. That's the other thing about the option. You don't block their best player on defense, Ray Savage, and Joe Henderson cuts back for the score.
Well, I have to say it because Springsteen's my favorite, but Henderson attended Springsteen's high school, Freehold Borough. He showed on that run he was born to run, didn't he?
Oh, boy, I tell you.
1st and 10. Pass, Moore cannot hold on to it. Boy, he tried to bring it in 3 or 4 times, but Herman Moore just couldn't find it. See the confidence, though, in Matt London. Let's go down to John Dockery.
Yeah, Jim, if you, during the play, as you watch the Clemson defense, watch your linebackers, because their linebacker coach, Miles Aldridge, told the linebackers to take care of the running game, to free the safeties and the corners up to cover the pass. Back to you, Jim.
All right, 2nd and 10, delay give to Greggs. Nothing. We've got an update. Again, we take it back to New York with Greg Gumbel in the update. Greg?
Jim, at West Virginia, Virginia Tech quarterback Cam Young takes it up top, 23 yards to Marcus Mickle. That set up the 4th field goal of the day by Mickey Thomas, and Virginia Tech is back on top of West Virginia, 12-10, about 2 minutes to play in Morgantown.
Well, West Virginia, Majors brought him back. We've seen it several times this year. Can he do it again? Of course, maybe the Mountaineers still smarting from that tie last week. What a remarkable comeback by Pitt a week ago. 3rd down, 11. He's got a man open. McGonigal was wide open. London overthrew him.
You know, John Docker's report just said watch the linebackers take away the pass, but that's what's going to happen, or take away the run. You're going to get a tight end running right down the middle, wide open, if you don't stop him from releasing. He is number 86, right in the right middle of the screen. Again, no one is touching him coming off the line. And if he isn't flushed out of the pocket, that is an easy score. You've got to stuff the tight end coming off the line of scrimmage.
Myron Martin punting for the 2nd time. 2-step punt to Lott at the 28. Lott, nice run. Skipping his way near midfield. Tackled by Kevin Cook. 20-yard return by James Lott, senior from Kannapolis, North Carolina. Well, talk about streaks. We've mentioned Clemson's dominance of Virginia. Notre Dame for years over Navy, and Penn State, Maryland. Clemson has come out with a new quarterback, Deshaun Cameron, sophomore quarterback from LaGrange, Georgia, takes over for Morocco on 1st and 10. Running the option, Cameron picks up 5.
Now this is not unusual. Danny Ford had every intention of playing Deshaun Cameron early in the ball game as a quarterback. He and Morocco went into the spring drills last year and this summer, really neck and neck for the quarterback position. He gives them a little bit more speed on the perimeter of the defense, and been a remarkably accurate passer this year, 7 for 7 coming into today's game.
He threw only 1 pass last year, lined up in the tailback position, and threw a 79-yard touchdown pass against Duke. Here's the pitch to Allen. He has the 1st down. Great run by Terry Allen. Finally tackled by Ken Miles. 13 yards on the carry.
And I think that's about the 7th time they've run that sweep play thus far already, Jim. And they get a great block by the tight end, Fields, number 46, and then Allen does a nice job of just picking his way. But this offensive line from Clemson, there's no negative plays against this team because this offensive line is always moving forward. No negative plays. Really tough to get in the gaps and create negative plays.
1st and 10. Percy West lines up to the right. Give inside to McFadden. McFadden is blowing open some holes against Virginia. Tyrone Lewis on the tackle in the secondary, and Kevin Cook. We saw last week Auburn upset by Tennessee. The Tigers today come back and win at Kentucky. Florida State over Syracuse at the Carrier Dome.
Nice sequencing of plays this drive by the Clemson Tigers. They give you the tailback, then they give you the fullback and some option as well.
2nd and 2. Cameron's pass caught and then dropped and almost intercepted by Covington. There he is, number 5, Tony Covington.
Covington, Jim, is a guy who really cares about this team. A year ago, before they played Clemson, his team was 2-2, wrote the team a letter that was actually read to the team in front of the team about wanting to play harder. Guys needed to play harder. Then he addressed the team before last year's Clemson game. They fought him tough, ultimately lost, but he has become a leader on this Virginia defense.
Says he stood up in the locker room before that Clemson game and went crazy for 2 or 3 minutes. 3rd and a yard. And inside, I don't believe that Terry Allen has the first down. Miles and Savage converge.
Well, Danny Ford has done a remarkable job since he has been here at Clemson of, again, of forcing teams to beat his team. His teams don't make a lot of mistakes. They're aren't necessarily a high-scoring, flashy type of teams, but he wins with great defense and special teams. And he thinks in the kicking game there's more ways to win or lose a football game than in any other facet of the game.
They'll face a decision here. 4th and inches. Having missed on the last field goal attempt, he's going to go for it.
He's thinking about it again now.
He has decided to take a timeout, think it over. After the summit on the sidelines, Danny Ford has sent in starting quarterback Chris Morocco, and the Tigers will go for it on 4th and inches. Not much success this year on 4th down. Allen and McFadden line up in the eye. Morocco keeps. He should have it.
Well, I like to see that on a 4th and short yardage. You go on a quick count and you run right behind a guy like Hank Phillips, the center. Low man wins in the short yardage situation, and Hank Phillips did a great job, number 50, of knocking off the nose guy. Coming right at you. Watch the center. It's a tough block for him because everybody knows he's going to come right down. He gets a block. The left guard, Flesh, gets a block. Create a little seam there for Morocco to pick up the first.
Cameron comes back in at quarterback. Junior Hall is the fullback. The pitch to Allen. He fumbled. Terry Allen fumbled the football. And Virginia has recovered. Terry Allen never fumbles the football. I say never because you go back through time, what a remarkable record he has until now.
Well, hasn't fumbled in the regular season the last 2 years. 161 carries this year coming in. This is something that's an attitude around Clemson about carrying the ball close to your body so that you don't fumble. But he got it out a little bit and was stripped away by one of the linebackers, took a big shot.
I think it was Chris Slade who reached in there and knocked it loose.
But he took a pretty good hit, but it's amazing. Danny Ford said he's going to... We talked so much yesterday with Danny Ford and their offensive coordinator, Chuck Reedy, about the fact that they don't fumble much.
Well, Clemson tailbacks had fumbled 1 time in their last 515 attempts prior to that one. Well, they love Terry Allen in Clemson. He's the 2nd all-time rusher at this school and now being carted off the field. And after you see the replay, you'll understand why he fumbled. We'll bring it to you after Virginia's play on 1st and 10 from its own 22-yard line. Donald Bryant, Marcus Wilson in the game. Wilson the lone setback. Wilson on the carry for 2 yards.
Jim, is really a high-speed impact right here between Allen and inside linebacker number 45, Mike Williams. He really went to the left knee. It wasn't anything intentional. Ouch.
Second down and 7 for Virginia. London rolling, Now setting, firing, and almost intercepted by Dexter Davis. Well, West Virginia did not lose last year in the regular season. And now their first loss of '89, having lost, of course, in the Fiesta Bowl to Notre Dame. Major had brought them back against teams like Louisville.
Well, did Alabama come roaring back or what? Down 21-0 at one point. Well, Jim, you mentioned Major Harris, but there's a guy down at Houston, Andre Ware, who's getting a lot of attention this year as well as a guy who's had a sensational year.
Threw 7 touchdowns last week. 3rd down and 7. Pass across the middle for McGonigal, and it's tipped and intercepted. Intercepted by Robert O'Neill. He had 2 interceptions last week, the freshman. And now that's 4 on the year.
Robert O'Neill is a true freshman and has just a presence about him. Talking to Bill Oliver, the defensive backfield coach, he says even though he's only 18 years old, he has a real feel for the game, a sense of where he is. And you're going to see some good team defense. With the corner blitz, you see number 5 there on the blitz, James Lott. The ball gets tipped, and then O'Neill is there to make the play. But again, that's what quickness, team quickness on defense does.
From the Virginia 37, inside McFadden. He gets near the 30. Phil Thomas and Mike Williams on the tackle. You could see on the replay where O'Neill scooped it up just before the football touched the ground. 2nd and 4 after the 6-yard gain by McFadden. Allen is replaced by Joe Henderson, who has scored Clemson's touchdown here today on a 45-yard run. Morocco peeps inside of the 30 to the 28. Joe Hall wraps him up.
You know, in Terry Allen's absence, Jim, they've had some pretty good backs here besides him to been very capable running the ball. Of course, we saw Henderson. And McFadden, who's playing some fullback in 1987, has a tailback rush for nearly 800 yards and now a sensational blocker as well.
3rd down and 2 for the Tigers. Fletcher in motion. Henderson lined up in the eye to give his inside to McFadden. 1st down. 1st down. Ray Savage grabbed a hold of him, but McFadden picks up the 1st.
But Jim, did you see that line surge? This offensive line, or Clemson, really almost play like wishbone line. When they get the rear ends real high in the air, they stay low. Right here, watch these guys as they come off the line of scrimmage. There's a surge. There's no white jerseys in the gaps. There's plenty of room for the fullback, McFadden, to find a little seam for the 1st down. That's good line play.
Thomas in as a receiver for Clemson on 1st down. The run by Henderson. Cutting around to the 20. Phil Thomas on the tackle. I'll tell you, when you played, your line had to go down like that so you could see over it, right?
Yeah, 2 of me would be as tall as Matt Blunden.
So it's 2nd down for Clemson. Thomas and Davis, the receivers, on the far right side. McFadden on the carry. McFadden for only a yard. Let's get a report from John Dockery on the sidelines. Doc?
You know, Jim, we're following the Terry Allen story. They took him into the locker room. The doctors went in with him. They have a portable x-ray machine. They're x-raying him. No report as of yet. We'll keep you posted.
Now he's just come out of the tunnel. He says, I don't want any help, but he needs it. And you hear the ovation in the background for Terry Allen.
Well, what a big part of their offense he has been, not only just as a runner. He's thrown a couple of passes, he's caught the ball, and he is a leader on this offensive team as well.
He's thrown the only touchdown pass this year for Clemson. Henderson, hammered. Man, boy, is he hit. Popped by McMeans, coming up from free safety. And he is near the 1st down at the 16-yard line.
Well, Keith McMeans said this game is the next step for us. And as a free safety, again, playing against an option team, he has got to make some plays. And, boy, he put a big hit on the ball carrier right there.
Maybe another decision forthcoming from Danny Ford as the chains come out to measure.
You know, because of the style of Clemson's offense, Jim, they get into, I think, more short yardage plays than most teams. They can hammer the ball and hammer the ball. They get in third and short and fourth and short an awful lot. And that's why their kicker, Bardaki, may be the most important guy on this team, because they generally play a lot of close ball games just because of the style of play that they have.
Clemson's most impressive victory this year was a convincing win at Florida State. The final was 34-23. Clemson led by 3 touchdowns at the intermission. 4th down. They'll go for it again. Same call, same result. 1st down, Clemson. Let's go back down to John Dockery on the sidelines. Doc?
Jim, I don't know if you can see behind me, but Terry Allen's knee is being wrapped with an ace bandage. They had ice on it. I spoke to him briefly. He said he was in pain, but that he expected he'd be back. I'm not so sure about, though. The sprain is not serious as they think right now, but I can't see him coming back for a while. But that's just a subjective opinion on my part, having seen a lot of knees, Jim. Terry, as I said, thinks he may be back. Back to you.
You would never know he'd even be able to come back out after seeing the replay.
Gruesome hit.
Morocco's sneak sets up 1st down, but busted play. Flags are down.
Well, Hank Phillips, the center for Clemson, did a nice thing. As soon as he sees the defensive team jump offside, he snaps the ball. Sometimes your quarterback can break a few fingers like that. But a nice heads-up play by Hank Phillips, the center.
You ought to be able to give him 5 yards rushing or something. Give him some yardage credit.
You know, every offensive lineman wants a chance to play tailback or quarterback, but this offensive line for Clemson is a very close-knit group. You know, every Friday they get together and kick practice field goals out there, and not too many of them can get the ball off the ground, but Jeff Flesh, the left guard, could actually kick a 55-yarder last Friday when they were messing around on Friday.
Can you imagine that? Your guard. So after the 5-yard step off, Morocco late pitch, Henderson holds on, touchdown. Hold on a minute, flag down. Maybe it was a forward lateral. Bringing it back.
That's the call.
So, as exciting as it was, Henderson looking for it and grabbing it eventually. It won't count.
Yeah, I mean, this is something Joe Henderson, again, has got to stay back behind.
Illegal forward pass. Loss of down. 2nd down.
And that's a nice call by the side judge because Henderson overran the option play. You have to be a little bit patient when you're trailing on the option play.
What you got?
So loss of down. Second and 8. Morocco going. Touchdown, Cooper. Gary Cooper. Morocco's first touchdown pass of the season. Of his career as well. Bardaki, good on the extra point.
Boy, tremendous sequencing of plays by Clemson. They hammer the ball with you, and then they run the option play, and then they fake the option, and when the safety comes up, which he has to do to support the play, they throw the ball right where the safety ordinarily would be. And Gary Cooper in the slot made a nice little catch for the touchdown, but nice sequencing of plays by the Clemson Tigers for the score.
And they're up by 10.
You know, the play action fake is one of those subtle things that can help a team win. Watch the free safety right here, number 16, Keith McMeans, go for the play action face. He's up here. Gary Cooper, the slot man, then goes right in the area where he vacated. And again, we talk about setting plays up. You run the option, you run the fullback, the free safety comes up to make the play, and then you throw it right in behind him. That is nice play selection by Chuck Reedy, the offensive coordinator for the Clemson Tigers.
Gary Cooper has his second touchdown on the season. Halfway through the second quarter, Clemson by 10. Chris Gardocki will kick away. After what you told me about Jeb Flesh, I'd like to see the big guard come out there. I was reminded, by the way, that Luke Rosa was an offensive lineman and kicker.
The toe.
The big toe. The toe. Picking it up at the goal line. Fisher to the 21-yard line. The ACC standings look like this. NC State playing a lot of conference games early. Virginia unbeaten in conference play. And Clemson with the loss last week against Duke. Duke beat them 21-17. In fact, after the game, Coach Steve Spurrier of Duke took out an ad in the local Durham newspaper and thanked all of the Duke partisans for coming out helping his team in the rain beat Clemson. Good play jab. Blunden rolling right again and looking long for Herman Moore. Moore at the 30 and down at the 27-yard line. Just had one man on him, Robert O'Neill, and it picked up 51 yards.
Well, he does not look like a basketball player throwing the football, does Matt Blunden?
Great arm.
That ball was a frozen rope right on it. And again, George Wells said we must throw the ball deep against this Clemson secondary, hoping for a pass interference or the big play like that. That was beautifully thrown over the defensive back O'Neill, and the nice catch by Moore.
Spotting it at the 29-yard line of Clemson. Fisher, the tailback, out of the eye. London pitches. No gain. Fisher tackled by Levon Kirkland and Robert O'Neill.
Now, this kind of play really doesn't fool a team that plays, that runs the option. They practice against it every week. Now, Blunden has several different options. He can throw the ball downfield. He can run it himself. But when he sees that many orange jerseys, he necessarily pitches it there to Nicky Fisher. But look, like 6 or 7 orange jerseys around the ball.
Poised quarterback, Matt Blunden. 2nd and 10 he's facing from the Clemson 29. McGonigal across the middle. Pickup of 8. We'll leave him 3rd and 2, Pat.
Bruce McGonigal may catch 20 balls today if somebody doesn't slow him up off the line of scrimmage. And again, it's a pretty simple thing. You get your strong side linebacker right on top of him and just don't make it easy for him.
He already has McGonigal 4 receptions, 56 yards, and the Virginia touchdown. He led Virginia last year in receiving yards, which is a great accomplishment when you have Herman Moore and John Ford, a 2nd-round NFL pick.
Very important 3rd down here for the Cavaliers.
3rd and 3. Fisher stepping through and picking it up. O'Neill and Locke bring him down, but Fisher sidestepping his way for the 1st down.
And Nicky Fisher, that was one of the first positive runs that they have had, but Nicky Fisher has been waiting for his chance. A highly recruited player 2 years ago, was recruited by everybody, but came to Virginia because he thought he could be the star in the backfield, thought he could dominate as a runner. And when he's got his opportunity, he's played pretty well. Started 3 games last year, ran for two times over 100 yards.
Virginia jumps.
Well, the other interesting thing, Jim, about Nicky Fisher, he had applied for a redshirt year this year.
Just prior to last week's game against William & Mary, he was so disappointed with his playing time. He didn't want to, but he was finally convinced to take a redshirt year.
We had 2 tailbacks ahead of him, and Marcus Wilson and Terry Kirby at the time, and he actually had all the paperwork to redshirt this year, and then when Kirby and Marcus Wilson got hurt last week, he rushed 7 times for 42 yards and lost the redshirt year.
Been out because of an Achilles tendon problem. Some had said he had gout in the Achilles. 1st and 15, Fisher the tailback. He'll run it. Not for much. Vince Taylor on the tackle, helped out by Doug Brewster.
It it is just so difficult to run to the outside of this Clemson defense. They've always had more physical defenses than they have this year, but they have got tremendous speed on those guys. And again, you're going to see 4, 5, 6 orange jerseys around the ball, particularly when you go outside.
Yeah, they lost Donnell Wolford, a first-rounder, to the Bears. Terry Kennard was a secondary man for Clemson. 2nd and 15. London looking long in the end zone. Moore cannot come down with it. That's the kind of pass he likes. Up high to try to take advantage of his 6'4" frame and jumping ability.
Where was McGonigal there? Last time he tipped it to McGonigal. But again, that's the idea, is just to give Herman Moore a chance. But good defense with 2 defensive backs around Herman Moore. The last part of the play, throw it up high and let him try to go up and get it. He got a pretty good hand on it, but then it was 36 Jerome Henderson who did a great job of knocking the ball out of Moore's hands.
3rd and 15. Derek Dooley's in the game along with Johnny Wilson. Finkelstein in motion. 3 receiver set for the Cavs. London going for McGonigal. Almost, but incomplete.
Well, they finally put somebody on Bruce McGonigal's nose because he's been running off free, and then James Lott, number 5, did a nice play. Here, that time, that was the first time they'd actually contested McGonigal, and that was number 12, John Johnson, who gave him a little bit of a push, and that allowed James Lott, the free safety, to come over and make the play. And if he doesn't tie him up, he runs free down the sideline.
Riles on the snap, Finkelstein on the hold, McInerney with a 36-yard attempt. Would be the longest of his career, and he's got it. So, the Cavs move within a touchdown. We'll be back with more CFA college football in just a moment. Straight college football weeks. A week ago, they were 7th, slipped from 7th to 15th after the loss to Duke. And now the Tigers take over at their own 20. This is their worst starting field position of the day. Morocco is the quarterback. He has 3 receivers in the game with him. Running the option, Henderson to pitch. Ray Savage. We talked about Jeb Flesh being a good name for a football player for his position. How about a linebacker with the name Savage?
That is perfect, and he wants to be remembered as the greatest defensive player that ever has played at Virginia. He's a guy who's got immense talent and ability. He can rush the passer. He can play the tight end. He can play back in pass coverage. A very talented outside linebacker.
Already in on 7 tackles. That one a 2-yard loss on the tackle by Savage. Morocco will run with it. And out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Savage again pushes him out.
And Jim, that doesn't look like a huge gainer. He only gained 5, 6 yards, but what he didn't do was force the ball. Chris Morocco knows what his role is on this team. It's not necessarily to carry this football team with his right arm, but it's to make the right decisions. And that was the right one there. Not forcing the ball and just taking the 5 or 6 yard gain by running it.
Chris Morocco had battled in camp with Cameron for the starting position and was not notified he was the starter until after he had raced down the hill in the opener against Furman. Just seconds before the kick, Danny Ford said, "You're my quarterback." Here he is, Morocco. Complete to Cooper. Makes a little pivot, picks up the first. Ball is loose after the play is whistled dead. Tyrone Lewis running with it. Morocco, we mentioned, waited a long time, backing up Rodney Williams. Here's what he talked about with the weight.
It's one thing I think that I learned from not playing. You know, I always remember when playing, I'll go out and have fun, but it was almost like it was a job to you. But then when I sat for 4 years and you see how much you've missed out on, and finally when you get the chance, I do it. And that's why I try to remind myself every once in a while this is just fun and I should go out there and try to enjoy it. It's my last year of playing and something that I've done all my life.
He's hit on 7 of his last 8 passes. That's having fun. Now he's throwing again and it's batted down. Ron Carey got his hands on it.
What a nice play by Ron Carey, the nose tackle. And he was kind of in a read position, almost really there in pass coverage. Saw that he wasn't going to get back, just stood there, and then jumped up and made the play. He'll be right in front of you, number 90. He sees that he can't get to the quarterback, fights off a couple of guys, waves those big paws. Wasn't really a tremendous leap, though, was it?
There are a lot of big paws around Clemson territory. Every road, every building, you see those tiger paws. Those were the paws of Virginia's Ron Carey. Morocco now thinking of going long, instead swings at the Henderson. Henderson gets away from 2 tackles and is down at the 31-yard line. 36 yards.
Boy, isn't that a nice play by Chris Morocco? And again, a guy you have to admire who's fought through some adversity here. He was trying to first throw the ball downfield to Gary Cooper for the big play. But Cooper was taken away. He kind of changed his throw in midstream, and a nice touch dumped the ball off to Henderson. And that looks like an easy throw, but believe me, it's not. You have to throw it over a couple of bodies. You have to have touch on the ball. That's a nice little throw by Morocco.
We're inside of 2 minutes left in the half. Clemson with 2 timeouts and a 7-point lead. McFadden. Gain of 3. Bunched up by Savage and company.
What Clemson does a great job of in this part of the game is use a lot of the clock, as much of the clock, and then still get something on the board. You've seen them do that time after time after time. 1:21 remaining in the half. They'll use just about that whole time and then get something on the board.
They brought in another tailback. Charlie James is in. Lined up deep in the eye behind McFadden and Morocco. Here's the reverse, the end around to Cooper, and read all the way by Tyrone Lewis.
Tyrone Lewis saved a very big play, maybe a touchdown there, because they had a nicely set up the reverse to Cooper.
So instead, it's a loss of 4. Clemson in Virginia territory. Final minute of the first half.
What a play by Tyrone Lewis right here, the strong safety who stays at home when the reverse comes around. If he doesn't do his job and he gets fooled by the fake, this could be a touchdown by Gary Cooper. Because you see some linemen, 2 or 3 linemen out in front. They had the whole thing set up, but Tyrone Lewis did a great job of preventing a big play.
Just a sophomore. I like what he said, Tyrone Lewis, when he described his own play. He said, last year I was a puppy. Now I'm a German Shepherd, but I want to be a wolf. 3rd down, 11. Morocco's pass almost intercepted. Close to Savage. In the area was Stacy Fields, the tight end.
Savage actually tipped that ball. Again, a heads-up play there by Savage. It prevented probably a 12 or 15-yard gain.
So Gardocki comes in. His career long is 52 yards. This is a 48-yard attempt. 1 for 2 today. Good from 21. Hit the upright from 35. This is blocked. Goes through the end zone. Virginia got a hand on it.
Yeah, it looked like it was tipped. Came from their left side of the defense.
Is it Tyrone Lewis again? Keep an eye on number 9.
Right off the corner. Again, this is just, all this is his hustle. Gets the right hand on. Looked like he tipped it right there.
May have just grazed the bottom of his right hand.
Well, I'd say that's such a long way to go from the corner. And all it is just guts and determination. And again, Tyrone Lewis has done it twice now for the Cavaliers.
1st and 10, Virginia, 40 seconds left in the half. London keeps on firing, and that one right in the area of 3 defenders. Johnny Wilson, the intended receiver. Dexter Davis was close to it, though, for Clemson. Let's go down to John Dockery. John?
Thank you, Jim. George Wilson, in his 8th year, has done a remarkable job here at Virginia. The team now respectable, credible, not like the old days when there were embarrassments like in 1959 when Virginia went to play Duke. Only problem was Duke was playing Notre Dame that day, so Virginia had to hustle across and get down to North Carolina, only to lose that game 41-0. A big difference here today.
Not good preparation that way. Again, Welsh today after his 100th career win. Riggs. And Virginia just let it run down here at the end of the first half.
I think George Welsh has to be happy going down only by 7 points at halftime, considering the injuries that he's had. His offensive team has had a couple of turnovers, but still played well. And the defense at times have had its moments, too.
Coming up at halftime, Greg Gumbel and Mike Francesa fill you in on everything that's happening in college football. Virginia will not even have to run another play. That's the end of the first half with the score, Clemson 17, Virginia 10. Now we'll go back to our New York studios with Greg Gumbel hosting the College Football Report. And the story today, the upset of the day, Virginia Tech over West Virginia. Greg? Clemson leading at halftime over Virginia, 17-10. John Dockery's on the sidelines. I'm Jim Nance along with Pat Hayden in the booth. We welcome you back to the second half. It's just minutes away. And Pat, Virginia, we talked about it right off the very top. It's a team coming in very injured. How have the Cavs done, you feel, in the first half?
Well, I think actually their defense played reasonably well, but they have not been able to run the football. And they have to decide, hey, we can even try to run it the second half, or we can let Matt London win it or lose it with his throwing arm. And I think that's what they're going to have to. If they're going to win, it's going to be with Matt London.
London started to pick up his confidence. He was intercepted twice, but both of them were on tip balls. Threw a touchdown as well on a tip ball picked up by McGonigal, the tight end. We will be right back with the start of the third quarter after this message and a word from your local station.